So hey guys, welcome to my channel The Math Spot. Today we are going to study a topic which is complex numbers. First we will study about what is inverse circular functions. So what is inverse circular functions? So we know the equation sine theta equal x, which means theta is what? Theta is the angle whose sine is x. Okay, so we can write its convenient notation, which is sine inverse x. Okay, thus theta equals sine inverse x, where theta is also the angle whose sine is x. Similarly, we can write cos inverse x, which expresses an angle whose cosine is x, and the quantities like sine inverse x, cos inverse x, tan inverse x, cot inverse x, etc. are called inverse circular functions. So sometimes we can write sine inverse x as arc sine x. So we know what is now the inverse circular function, the inverse function, trigonometric function which are in inverse form, like sine inverse x, cos inverse x, tan inverse x, cot inverse x, sec inverse x. All these are called inverse circular functions. So here is a note also that we cannot write sine inverse x as sine x whole inverse, because what is sine x whole inverse is 1 over sine x. It is the inverse of sine x. Okay. So basic about inverse circular function is clear now. Now we will study some general and principal values relation, okay, of inverse circular functions. So the relations between the general and principal values of various inverse circular functions, which are as follows. So what is the principal and general value relation of sine inverse x is n pi plus minus 1 to the power n sine inverse x. Okay, and what is cos inverse x, which is 2n pi plus minus cos inverse x. What is tan inverse x, which is n pi plus tan inverse x. And what is of cot inverse x, which is n pi plus cot inverse x. And sec inverse x is 2n pi plus minus sec inverse x. And what is of cosec inverse x is n pi plus minus 1 to the power n cosec inverse x. So these are the general and principal values of inverse circular functions. Okay, so you have to remember all these values to solve upcoming questions. And here what is n? So n is what? It is n is any integer which can be positive or negative or 0. Okay, so these are the values of n. So there is a note that the principal value of any inverse circular function is the smallest numerical value of that inverse circular function, and this value can be positive or negative. Okay, so this is the important point you have to remember. So now we will study about what is the relation between inverse functions. So there are three relations. First, which is principle of reciprocity. So what is this? If we write sine inverse x in cos x form, what is this? Cosec inverse 1 by x. And cos inverse x is sec inverse 1 by x. And what is tan inverse x, which is cot inverse 1 by x. So next one is from the definition of an inverse circular function, it is clear that we can write it like in the form theta is equals to sine inverse sine theta and x equals sine inverse x. So similarly we can write it for cos, tan and etc. for any trigonometric function. So we already discussed about this sine inverse x, cos inverse x, tan inverse x. Okay, we can make these formulas. Okay, so now what is the third property, which is related to negative, if the negative sign come between them. like sine inverse minus x, then we will write it like minus sine inverse x. And for cos inverse minus x, we will write pi minus cos inverse x. And what is tan inverse minus x? We will write minus tan inverse x. Okay, so next we will study about some important results about inverse functions. So this first we will study about the complementary inverse functions. So what, which is first sine inverse x plus cos inverse x is equals to pi by 2. So these three properties are for sine, cos, tan, cot, sec, cosec. Okay, we will remember these points. Next, so now there are some important formulas that we have to remember, which is of tan and cot to solve the questions related to these problems. That is tan inverse x plus tan inverse y, which is tan inverse x plus y or 1 minus xy. And second is tan inverse x minus tan inverse y, which is tan inverse x minus y over 1 plus xy. Third is 2 tan inverse x, which is tan inverse 2x over 1 minus x square. And fourth one is tan inverse x plus tan inverse y plus tan inverse z is equals to tan inverse x plus y plus z minus xyz over 1 minus yz minus zx minus xy. So here is a remark that the formula, which is tan inverse x plus tan inverse y is equals to tan inverse x plus y over 1 minus xy, it doesn't mean that the sum of the principal values of tan inverse x and tan inverse y will necessarily be equal to the principal value of this. Okay, so this sum may be equal to the, I said may be equal to the principal value of this. Okay, or it may be equal to some other value of this. Okay, so you have to remember this point. I didn't write, but you can learn, you can remember this point. So there are some more formulas of cot, which is in form cot inverse x plus cot inverse y is equals to cot inverse xy minus 1 over x plus y, and cot inverse x minus cot inverse y, which is equals to cot inverse xy plus y minus x. So as I discussed before, all the formulas and basics to you, you have to remember all these basics to study about complex numbers. So I just tell you the basics now. Now we will study about what is complex numbers, its equality, its multiplication, addition, and every property. So let's get